one person who has proven that you can't allow the little things to get under your skin, it's Jesse the Body Ventura. And that, I thought, was part and parcel the opportunity that was missed in 2020 by the Green Party that decided your father was not pure enough to run on their ticket. So let's put Howie Hawkins up and get the lowest vote total the Green Party in a presidential election, I believe, ever did. So that mistake was made. Now, how well would Jesse have done if he was the Green Party nominee? No, he wasn't going to win, but could he have gotten 5% of the vote? Yeah, I think he could have gotten 5% of the vote. As a matter of fact, I think if he did choose to run in 24, in whatever capacity that may look like, especially at a time when we absolutely must have a labor movement uprising in this country, uniting all corners of working people in the United States, I think Jesse Ventura is the best vessel to make that happen. How do you see that?
Sorry,
I had to put you on the spot.
No. I mean, I completely agree that we need more people like my father. I completely agree with that. Is my father the best vessel for it in 2024? Maybe. I don't know. I think my dad's 72 years old now. I love my father and I will support him in everything he does. But to be perfectly honest, we need to get youth. We need to get people who aren't 72 years old running for president anymore.
Sure.
And as much as I'd love to see my dad come through and wreck shop and win and get, 15, 20, 25% of the vote, change the dynamic of what we're talking about, I would love to see my father debate Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Or whoever the two parties want to throw up there against him. That would be one of the greatest viewing pleasures of all my life. But
I was actually thinking him versus Mayo Pete would be one of the best things I would ever see. And in fact, I was thinking that before. I'm sorry. Like, and that
DeSantis, if it ends up being Pete and DeSantis running, I mean, It would be a fantastic debate. But at the end of the day, and I'm not trying to be ageist here, but at the end of the day, I'm really tired of seeing presidencies being, people running for president who are over the age of 70. The same way that I don't like seeing people who are, I don't like seeing lifetime appointments to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. I really think that despite the fact that right now we're in a situation where there isn't a lot of, look, I'll take somebody who's, one of the leaders that is out there right now, like a Chris Smalls, that would be willing to just challenge the president. Because the fact that we're not even talking about the horrendous decision made by this president regarding the railroad workers and what that represents and the precedent that sets for not just Republicans, but Democrats as well, to say that it's okay to keep standing on labor because we don't want to inconvenience people who are living comfortably is just insane. And so the big issue here is, well, is there any real name recognition out there? And I think the fact that your father is a known, I hate saying it this way, but is a known commodity in the political arena and wouldn't be starting from zero, I think that he could generate, especially if he just basically ran sort of like a Eugene Debs, Teddy Roosevelt type of campaign, especially at a time where this country desperately needs it. I know that they will move heaven and earth at the very top to stop him in every which way possible. But I do think, as you were saying before, I think we're closer to a breakthrough than many people actually believe. Because the night is always darkest before the dawn. It always has been. History has always proven that. But ultimately, it will come down to how he feels. If he thinks that there is an opportunity, if he feels that it's, there's going to be an opportunity with one of the additional parties outside of the two-party system. Although we did have Kim Iverson on our show, and she actually does want to see your father run, but she actually thinks he should run in the Democratic primary, which I thought was interesting. But I think that there's just this yearning, if you will, to see something extraordinary happen, because I think we're ready for it. I think we're ready for a competent Ross Perot type situation. I think what a lot of people forget about when Ross Perot ran for president is that he didn't really know what he was doing. He had his infomercials on late at night, but in terms of campaign strategy and all that stuff, he didn't have any of it. And he still got 20% of the vote. Imagine if there was somebody who was willing to have this barnstorming type campaign. I think your father would be excellent at it, and I would, just for even though I'm a Democrat, I would love to see it.
Well, I think we're all hungry for those candidates like my father and others who, when you hear them speak, you know that they're speaking from the heart and for what they believe to be true. Even if you disagree with, like, let's say 20% of their platform or even 30% of their platform, I will take somebody who I might disagree with on a few issues of what they believe in, but if the bulk of what they're saying really speaks to me, and I know they're saying it from their heart as opposed to what's popular or opposed to what, where their donors come from and things like that, I will take that candidate. And when we come across those candidates, we have to support them with everything we can. We have, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is we've got to get out of this divisive way of thinking that, just because somebody might make one bad decision that then they're not pure. No one's pure. You're never going to find the perfect candidate. You just aren't. You cannot appease all people. There's also a lot of roadblocks that you have to overcome. One of them is the Electoral College. I believe that, especially for presidency, we abolish the Electoral College. It's an antiquated system that doesn't need to be around anymore. And we should go off just the popular vote at the end of the day. The Democrats and Republicans, because of what you talked about earlier with Ross Perot, they set the bar on a presidential level almost impossible for a third-party candidate to even get noticed. Now, if somebody runs and does a hostile takeover like we saw with Donald Trump, that's a route. If somebody can go in and do a hostile takeover of the Democrats, Bernie Sanders came close, but even Bernie, my dad spoke with Bernie when he was here in Minnesota campaigning the first time round, and my dad point blank asked him. He didn't have a lot of time, but he point blank asked him, "If you lose, will you start a third party movement? If you lose this nomination, will you take the millions of followers that you have and go third party, go independent, like what's next to your name?" And he said, no, I'll support Hillary 100%. And so we have to get, there's a lot of different routes to doing the presidency, but you either are going to have to take over the Democrats, or you're going to have to enact a lot of change between now and then on an election, on changing how we do our elections in this country. I know I'm not completely sold yet on Andrew Yang and the Forward Party and all of that. I know that they're basic, they keep asking, what's your platform? What's your platform? And they did give an interesting response, is that our only platform is that we're going to elect people who will change the voting system in this country to be more inclusive rather than exclusive, to make it easier for third parties to get access to politics and drugs. If they keep that message and they become almost like a political action committee, more so than a party, which is kind of what they are.
That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, it kind of does. It does seem like that's the direction it's going.
And that's where they're going. I don't know if I'm going to get behind them with all their candidates, but if they stay true to their word and they get candidates in office who are going to change the way that the election system works and make it more friendly to third party candidates, that's great. Good for them. I hope that they succeed in that. The other thing I think that's important for us as a society is we have to get out of the American Idol aspect of only paying attention to federal national politics. We have to get out of this idea that it's the presidency is what we pay attention to every 4 years, or the Congress and things like that. Yes, it's important to pay attention to that. But at the end of the day, if you want to see real change in your life on a political level that it truly affects you, you have to go local and state. The decisions made at local level and state level directly affect you right away. And if we're talking about changing how this system is going to be done, changing the direction of this country for a way that's friendlier and actually lifts up the working class rather than puts their, boot on their neck all the time, you have to build a ground base. And the way you build that base is local and state. Because if you can't just cut off, you can't go right for the head. You're never going to stop that. You got to start at the ground level and build that change from there. And that's your local politicians. Okay. That's the whole thing.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.